A Voyage to Brobdingnag by Jonathan Swift. A Voyage to Brobdingnag had been adapted from the book Gulliver's Travels. Gulliver's ship gets badly battered during a storm. The crew and Gulliver make their way to an island, Brobdingnag, so that they may repair the ship. To their surprise, the island is inhabited by giants. Gulliver is taken by a farmer to be the plaything or toy for his daughter. My mistress had a daughter who was 9 years old. She was very dexterous at her needlework and skillful in dressing her doll. Her mother and she arranged a doll's cradle for me for the night. The cradle was put into a small drawer of cabinet, and the drawer was placed upon a hanging shelf for the fear of rats. This was my bed all the time. I stayed with those people, though it was made more convenient as I began to learn their language and make my wants known. The young girl was very helpful to me. She made me 7 shirts and some other clothes of as fine a material as could be got, which was in fact coarser than sackcloth. She washed these clothes with her own hands. She was likewise my teacher to teach me their language. When I pointed to anything, she told me the name of it in her own language, so that in a few days I was able to call for whatever I wanted. She was very good-natured and not more than 40 feet tall, being short for her age. She gave me the name Gulliver, which the family used and later the whole kingdom. In English, the word means mannequin. We never parted while I was there. I called her my Glumdalclitch or little nurse. It now began to be known and talked about in the neighborhood that my master had found a strange animal in the fields, about the size of a splachnock, an animal in that country which was about 6 feet long, but exactly shaped like a human being, which it imitated in all its actions. It seemed to speak in a little language of its own and had already learned several words of theirs. It went erect on its legs, was tame and gentle, would come when it was called, do whatever it was bid, and had a complexion fairer than a nobleman's daughter of 3 years old. Another farmer, a friend of my master, came on a visit to find out the truth of the story. I was immediately produced and placed on a table where I worked as I was commanded. I paid my respects to my master guests, asked him in his own language how he was, and told him he was welcome, just as my little nurse had instructed me. This man, who was old and dim-sighted, put on his spectacles to see me better, at which I could not help laughing very heartily, for his eyes appeared like a full moon shining into a chamber through 2 windows. Other people laughed too when they discovered the cause of my mirth, but the old man was angry. He was a miser, and to my misfortune he advised my master to display me on the market day in the next town. When Glumdalclitch heard of this plan, she laid me on her chest and began to cry. She felt worried that harm would be done to me by some crude people who might squeeze me to death or break one of my limbs by taking me in their hands. She felt it was an indignity to me to be exposed for money as a public spectacle to the people. Following the advice of his friend, my master carried me in a box to the next market day to the neighboring town, and took along with him his little daughter, my nurse, on the pillion behind him. The box was closed on every side with a little door for me to go in and out, and a few holes to let in air. The girl had been thoughtful enough to put her doll's quilt into it for me to lie on. However, I was terribly shaken by the end of the journey, for the horse went about 40 feet at every step, and trotted so high that the movement was equal to the rising and falling of a ship in a great storm. My master arrived at the inn, and after consulting the innkeeper, hired the town crier to give notice through the town of a strange creature to be seen at the inn, not as big as a splachnock, and in every part of the body resembling a human being, which could speak several words and perform 100 entertaining tricks. I was placed on a table in the largest room of the inn. My little nurse stood on a stool close to the table to take care of me and direct what I should do. To avoid a crowd, my master would only allow 30 people at a time to see me. I walked about on the table as the girl commanded. She asked me questions as far as she knew my understanding of the language reached, and I answered them as loudly as I could. I paid my respects to the gathering several times and made some other speeches that I had been taught. I took up a thimble filled with a drink which Glumdalclitch had given me as a cup and drank to their health. My nurse gave me a part of a straw which I treated as a pike. That day I was shown to 12 sets of people and forced to do the same acts till I was half dead with weariness and annoyance. My master would not allow anyone to touch me except my nurse. To prevent danger, benches were put around the table to keep me out of everybody's reach. However, a schoolboy aimed a hazelnut as big as a pumpkin at my head, which very narrowly missed me. For this he was scolded and sent out of the room. I was so tired with my first journey and with entertaining people for 8 hours together that I could hardly stand on my legs or speak a word. It was at least 3 days before I recovered my strength. I had no rest at home either, as all the neighboring people, hearing of my fame, came to see me at my master's house. And my master demanded the rate of a full moon whenever he showed me to the people. Therefore, for some time I had a little rest during the week, although I was not carried to the town. Finding how profitable I was likely to be, my master resolved to carry me to the most important cities of the kingdom. Having provided himself with all the things necessary for a long journey and settled his affairs at home, he took leave of his wife. On the 17th of August, about 2 months after my arrival, we set out for the metropolis. My master made his daughter Glumdalclitch ride behind him. She carried me on her lap in a box tied about her waist. We travelled distances of not more than 100 miles a day, for Glumdalclitch, on purpose to comfort me, complained she was tired with the trotting of the horses. She often took me out of my box at my own desire to give me air and show me the country, but always held me fast by lead strings. On our journey we passed many rivers broader and deeper than Nile or the Ganges. We travelled for 10 weeks before we arrived at the metropolis, called in the language Laurel Grid, or Pride of the Universe, on the 26th day of October. Please like, share and comment on this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.